What happens when a political veteran storms into a debate with sharpened claws, only to be undone by a freshman congresswoman who never once raises her voice? You're about to watch the exchange that redefined how audiences measure strength in politics. And it began with 5 deceptively simple words. Thank you for your perspective. The studio pulsed with tension. Overhead lights burned hot, cameras rolled, and a quiet murmur ran through the control room. At center stage, 2 figures sat separated by little more than a table, but it might as well have been a battlefield. On one side, Kellyanne Conway, seasoned strategist, posture rigid, jaw clenched, her entire presence humming with aggression. She wasn't here to converse, she was here to conquer. Opposite her, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Calm, composed, shoulders loose, eyes sharp but patient. Her silence radiated control, an unspoken message. You cannot pull me into your storm. Before the host could finish his introduction, Conway lunged. You think you can just walk in here and tell me how politics works? Her voice spiked, slicing the air. You're nothing but a freshman. You don't even know your place yet. Crockett turned her head slightly, lips curving into something between a smile and a shield. Thank you, Kellyanne. I appreciate you sharing your perspective, soft words. But they landed like steel. Conway blinked, her rhythm broken. Don't patronize me, she snapped, venom lacing each syllable. I was managing presidential campaigns when you were still doing mock trials. I know how these bills work, Crockett's response was surgical. I'd love to hear about specific cases of the voter fraud you're concerned about. What evidence are you referencing? Conway leaned forward, her voice rising another octave. The evidence is everywhere. Dead people voting, non-citizens casting ballots, ballot harvesting in swing states. You people don't want to admit it. Still, Crockett didn't flinch. Her tone remained steady, almost gentle, as if she were guiding the conversation rather than fighting in it. I understand your passion. But our viewers, and our democracy, deserve discussions rooted in verifiable facts. Facts? Conway barked, her face flushing red. The fact is, this bill opens the door to chaos. It strips states of their power and hands Democrats exactly what they want: permanent control. Without hurry, Crockett opened a folder, flipping to a marked page. She looked up, voice even. Which provision are you referring to? Conway slammed back. Don't play dumb. The voter ID clause. You're eliminating it. Crockett shook her head slightly. Actually, the bill strengthens voter ID laws by ensuring every American can access a free government-issued form of identification. It doesn't erase the requirement. It makes it fairer. You're twisting it, Conway shot back, her pitch climbing. I've read the bill. I know what it says. Crockett paused, letting silence expand in the studio until it became unbearable. Then, with measured calm, would you like to walk through the section with me? The cameras caught it, the flicker of hesitation in Conway's eyes, the stillness of a fighter who suddenly realized her strikes were landing on air. The host tried to interject, voice nervous. Let's focus on what the bill does versus what it's accused of doing. But Conway snapped, unwilling to let go. No, I'm sick of these lectures. I'm sick of people who've barely been in office pretending they... Her voice cut against Crockett's silence, a storm raging against an unmovable wall. Conway's words hung in the air, jagged and loud. Crockett only nodded, her voice low but steady. I don't pretend, Kellyanne. I research. I read. I serve. And above all, I listen. The calmness seemed to unnerve Conway more than any rebuttal. She leaned forward, eyes narrowing. You think you're clever. You think if you keep your voice low and wrap your arguments in lawyer language, you'll win. Crockett tilted her head. I'm not trying to win. I'm trying to have a conversation that respects the intelligence of the people watching. Conway's composure cracked. Her shoulders trembled, hair slipping loose, cheeks now a burning red. You're not fooling anyone. You're pushing a bill that lets Democrats flood the system with fraudulent votes. Crockett's gaze lifted, unblinking. Are you accusing me, personally, of trying to commit election fraud? Conway's mouth opened. If the shoe fits. But Crockett cut in, softly, firmly. I took an oath to uphold the Constitution. Every vote I support is in service of that oath. And I've seen, firsthand, the damage done when people are denied their voice. Conway tried to scoff, but her voice betrayed a tremor. Don't start preaching. Don't act like you're the moral compass here. I'm not acting, Crockett replied gently. But I know this. We cannot keep turning people we disagree with into enemies. If we do, we're not debating. We're just shouting into the void. Conway's hand curled into a fist. The Constitution doesn't say we have to make voting easy. Crockett's eyes softened, though her tone sharpened. No, but it does say we cannot abridge the right to vote. 14th Amendment, 15th Amendment. The question isn't about ease, it's about access. For every citizen, rural or urban, rich or poor. Black or white, Conway's hand slammed the desk. A water glass rattled violently, nearly toppling. Stop being so reasonable, she screamed. The studio froze. Crew members glanced at each other, unsure whether to breathe. The host's lips parted. Words caught in his throat. Crockett reached calmly for her glass, sipped, and set it back down. Being reasonable isn't weakness. It's the discipline of choosing facts over volume. You're manipulating people, Conway shot back, almost pleading. What exactly am I manipulating? Crockett asked. Her tone never shifted. I've presented facts. I've invited you to walk through the bill with me. I've asked questions. I haven't shouted. I haven't insulted. I've only responded. Conway shook her head, bitter, grasping for ground. You think being calm makes you right? It doesn't. I don't think calm makes me right, Crockett answered softly. I think listening makes us both better, even if we never agree. You're acting like you're above this, Conway muttered, voice frayed. Crockett leaned forward, her words deliberate, almost tender. No, Kellyanne. I'm right here, engaged, present, respectful. I just don't believe raising my voice makes my point stronger. The host finally interjected, seizing the silence. Congresswoman Crockett, what would you say to voters who feel overwhelmed by debates like this? Crockett turned slightly, her gaze steady into the camera. I tell them this. The goal isn't to win arguments. The goal is to understand problems and solve them together. But we can't do that if we assume the worst about each other before the conversation even begins. For a moment, the cameras captured pure stillness. Conway shuffled her notes, hands trembling. Finally, she seized on a line, voice brittle. The voter roll section. States won't be able to clean up their lists. Crockett leaned in, her tone never more composed, her presence never more commanding. That's a common concern, Crockett replied evenly, her finger resting on the page. But the bill requires states to use verified data and notify voters before removing them. It ensures accuracy, not chaos. Conway shifted in her seat, her voice unsteady. Well, some people stay on the rolls after they've passed away. They're removed as soon as there's proof of death, Crockett said, her tone patient, almost teacher-like, pointing directly to the line in the document. That's not a loophole. That's a safeguard. For the first time, Conway faltered. Her words came out almost inaudible. I may have misread that part. Crockett leaned back, offering the smallest of nods. It's okay. Legislation is complicated. That's why we have conversations like this, to clarify, to inform, to learn. The camera caught it all. Conway looking down, her voice stripped of its sharp edges. "These issues matter a lot to me," she murmured. "They matter to me too," Crockett said softly. "And I respect that they matter to you." The studio seemed to exhale. What lingered wasn't the shouting, but the contrast, the discipline of one woman's restraint against the collapse of another's composure. Crockett's voice carried now, steady but weighted with conviction. "I supported this bill not to hand my party an advantage, but to give my constituents their voice. I have seen the impact of silence. I have seen exclusion harden into despair. I have seen people fight their entire lives for the right to be heard." She paused, letting the silence speak for her before finishing. "Democracy isn't about volume. It's about inclusion." The host turned, breaking the stillness. "Congresswoman Crockett, thank you. Kellyanne, final thoughts?" Conway looked drained, her earlier fire extinguished. "I let my emotions get the best of me," she admitted quietly. "That's not how I wanted this to go." Crockett nodded once, her voice calm but empathetic. "We all care deeply. That's why we're here." And with that, the segment ended. But the moment didn't. It pulsed through social media feeds, replayed in classrooms, debated in campaign offices, whispered across living rooms. Because in an age where shouting has become the currency of politics, one congresswoman had shown that silence, composure, and discipline could carry more weight than rage. In that quiet, the power shifted, and millions noticed.